Hi everyone, so it is Thursday, say 6 p.m, 23rd of July 2020, it's nice and warm outside, and I posted a still on LinkedIn, and I was having a look at Apple, so I want to walk you through my kind of thinking here. I'm just going to enlarge one of the screens so that I can kind of focus on that, and so I kind of want to highlight a few different things here. So we're looking at the monthly time frame here, and first of all, it's gone parabolic. So what does that mean? It really just means that the angle of the motion of price, or the angle of price, has become almost straight up. And this is relatively obvious when all I did was draw a circle, so nothing fancy here. This isn't some fancy indicator. Just drew a circle on it. I noticed that it happened to connect, and it's almost as though price is crawling up around the outside of this. And when it becomes parabolic, it's unsustainable. So no matter what we think, this just cannot continue on like this. And keep in mind that it's almost always near the top of a bubble that people are at their most convinced that the market is bulletproof. Like, there's just no way. That it's like a frenzy that everybody gets caught up in. So that's why the more and more obstinate, and the more I hear people saying the market's impenetrable, or it's just it's unbreakable, then that's absolutely the key point at which I am aware that we're potentially in a bubble. But my point being, whenever a chart becomes parabolic, it usually runs out of steam. So that means I've highlighted here, there's, I put 40,000 on the chart here, there's also 50,000. Of course, it's possible that usually right at the end you might get your largest candle, so it's possible here we could break through this and head up higher, but I really don't think, based on this, that it'll get much further than that if it manages to break through 40,000. I also measured the move from this low to this high, and when I place it over here, it's exactly the same. So I can demonstrate that actually. It's not by any means doesn't mean anything, but if out of interest, if we just take that and we just match it up, you'll see that it pretty much is where we are now. So that's one potential factor, but at the very least, we're definitely in unsustainable territory here. So this video is really about, well, where is it likely to return to? In order to do that, I need to go further up the time frames. I need to go and look at the quarterly and take a look at that. So here's another reason why I know that the price is ultimately going to come back down, is you can see that even going up to quarterly or annually, it heads away, comes back, breathes out, breathes in, breathes out, and it has done its furthest move on the quarterly chart ever in history in its lifespan, the distance away from the moving averages. So when price returns, previously it comes back between the kind of the black and the blue moving average, about halfway, give or take. Does it there, does it there, does it there. So reasonably, that puts it around about the 21,500 mark, give or take. Call it 21,000. That puts us at about that. In addition to that, the angle which it's going, which is unsustainable, usually has an equal kind of a reaction or a correction, which means that it'll come down just as steeply or as hard as it went up. And again, so I think based off that, somewhere between, say, 20,000 and 25,000 is probably a reasonable, very fair, reasonable. 25,000 on the chart, there's 250 and 200. That's a reasonable guesstimation. So going back down to the monthly, you can see roughly what I've highlighted in this area, and I think I'm being incredibly generous. Basically, a normal correction, if it's not done yet, if it still intends to keep going, would put it closer towards the $30,000 or $300 mark. If it has a very, very strong correction, in other words, like a market shock of some sorts, then it's going to head down towards the 210, 220 mark. So that's the area in which I would reasonably expect it to go to, and I've highlighted levels based off the weekly and monthly charts. Going back down, zooming in a little bit further, looking at it here, you can see I've highlighted previous highs in both cases, plus the next kind of closest level. So I've captured this range, and again, that puts it down at a 50 fib retracement, which puts it back down at 300. If it goes further than that, that's going to be quite extreme. So on a weekly basis, it's fair to say that it's somewhere between 325 and 300 is a very fair arrangement. Possibly could come down here towards 25,000, 250, 254. But on a monthly basis, which is overdue to do that, as well as a quarterly basis, of which it's overdue, that puts us further down. So that's going to be quite extreme. relatively speaking, but probably not too unhealthy on this side. So that puts us below 250, below the 250 mark, or around the 250 mark. So that's really it. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on the on this level here where it's testing that for resistance, with an idea that if it really just goes on steroids, it'll go up towards the $500 mark. You know, stimulation possibly, but at this point, this market is not trading on the underlying value. It has departed value long ago, and I have no sympathy for anyone who is choosing to participate in this market on a longer term basis. I have no sympathy for anyone who decides that now is the time they want to get in and hold for the next few years. I think that's going to be very painful. I think it's going to be a costly exercise. On a daily basis, as a trader, it's potentially still tradable. It's now produced a lower high, and it's close to breaking this previous low, so it's already effectively kind of, well, almost finished that upper trend. So I just want to kind of mark on this. I think at the very least we're going to see it head down towards 325, and depending on how extreme the shock is, we could see it head down towards the 210 mark but that's a quarterly basis. So that's, you know, that's going to be 3 to 9 months of this. So I will update when it becomes significant, which is over the next 3 to 9 months. Cool. So I just wanted to post that. Let me know your thoughts. I'm always curious as to that. I'm not really concerned with the fundamentals. They will explain it when it happens. The technicals are just indicating that we have already entered parabolic territory. Doesn't mean we've entered overextended territory. The distance from the moving averages at this point is the same as it was previously, and it can still go further. So there is potential for it to go to 450 or 500. It can still do that. Although I have highlighted 400, it can go further. Cool. Just wanted to put that down on video now.